My name is Eldon, and I am an ordinary office worker. 10 years ago, I met my wife Cassandra at a friend's party. At that time, she was wearing a light blue dress, smiling like a gentle dream. We fell in love at first sight and soon fell in love. My love story with Cassandra is a very traditional and sweet one. We held hands, hugged, dated, and eventually got married. After marriage, we built a cozy little family together. We have two lovely children, our eldest daughter, Emma, and our youngest son, Liam. Every morning, Cassandra prepares a delicious breakfast for me and my children. Every weekend, the four of us go for a walk in the park, hand in hand, and share the joy of family life. I thought this happy life would last forever. However, underneath all the beauty, cracks in the marriage were appearing. About 6 months ago, I began to notice a change in Cassandra. Once plain and casual, she suddenly began to dress up. Every morning, the clicking sound of the cosmetic case opening and closing in front of the dresser was always heard. When she left the house, she smelled of men's cologne, which she had never smelled before. Cassandra has not only changed in appearance, but also in her demeanor. She began to frequently mention a young male coworker named Devin at the dinner table, with a hint of longing in her voice. When I asked for more information about Devin, she blinked and changed the subject. As time went on, Cassandra's attitude towards her family became increasingly cold. She began to work overtime more often and made more and more financial demands. I remember one time she asked me to buy her a branded bag that was worth a lot of money. When I politely expressed my financial pressure, she became furious and even said Devin would buy it for me. The children began to feel uneasy about their mother's cold shoulder and often asked me, "Daddy, why doesn't Mommy play with us anymore? Is it because we are not good?" Looking at their innocent little faces, my heart was like a knife, but I could only force a smile and whisper comfort. All the signs made me suspicious. On a whim, I plucked up the courage to check Cassandra's cell phone, which had been left on the couch. On the screen, an ambiguous text message jumped out at me. "When will we meet again, darling?" The last hotel night was unforgettable. Every word was like a sharp blade, piercing my heart. I started investigating secretly, looking for more evidence. I secretly opened her computer and found a hidden photo album full of pictures of her and Devin. In the photos, they were either hugging each other or looking at each other, and their sweet smiles hurt my eyes. I also found many couples' hotel bookings in my browser history. The most devastating was a screenshot of a bank transfer that showed Cassandra transferring money to a private clinic, with a note that read, "Pregnancy test fee." In desperation, I found the courage to inquire at the clinic. A nurse told me that Cassandra was 8 weeks pregnant and that the due date coincided with her private meeting with Devin. It was as if my heart had been torn in half, one half dead and the other half still breathing. It's been a long time since I've been intimate with Cassandra. Ever since we found out she was pregnant, it's been like an invisible wall between us, separating us from all the warmth and affection. We'd sleep in the same bed, but we were far away from each other. I remember clearly the last time I tried to get close to her, how she coldly pushed me away, leaving a sentence, "I am very tired. Want to rest early." I hold back the bitterness in my heart, silently turned over, looking at the dark night. I do not know when I can feel her temperature again. Although I was devastated by Cassandra's betrayal, I chose to hold back for the sake of the children. However, a heated argument shattered our fragile equilibrium. The other day, my eldest daughter, Emma, came to me in a frenzy to show me her new Barbie doll. It was Emma's birthday present and her favorite toy. However, just then, Cassandra suddenly lost her temper. She snatched the doll from Emma's hand, slammed it to the ground, and shouted, "This toy is so childish. How old are you? And why are you still playing with these things?" Emma was so scared that she cried out. I rushed forward to comfort her, but Cassandra pushed her away. I still can't believe what happened next. Cassandra grabbed Emma's dolls and threw them out of the house, along with her son Liam's toy car. The toys were scattered all over the place, some of them smashed to pieces. The children let out heartbreaking cries, but Cassandra, expressionless, threw the door shut and left. I stood there with my two crying children in my arms, at a loss for words. From that day on, Emma and Liam began to call Cassandra the toy killer. Whenever Cassandra came home, they would hide in their room and would never interact with her again. I could see the disappointment and anger in the children's eyes, and it broke my heart. What was once a happy home was now filled with sadness. I tried to fix my children's moods and entertain them in every way possible. I bought new toys, took them to the playground, and even cooked their favorite pizza. However, no matter how hard I tried, the damage had been done and the rift was hard to heal. Emma was no longer as lively as she used to be, often staring out of the window by herself. Liam had become quiet and no longer came to me to play. Cassandra's behavior has left an indelible scar on this family. Not only has she hurt our marriage, but she has also hurt the children's trust and expectations of their mother. I became deeply concerned that if we allowed things to go on, our family would be torn apart. I made numerous attempts to communicate with Cassandra, hoping to bring her back to her senses. However, every conversation ended in an argument. She was no longer willing to listen to my ideas, and she was even indifferent to the children's feelings. I could feel that there was an invisible force pushing us towards the abyss, and I was powerless to stop it. As time passed, Cassandra's belly grew, and the child that didn't belong to me grew in her womb. I couldn't help but wonder what I would do when this child was born. How could I explain to Emma and Liam why they would have a half-brother or half-sister? I spent countless nights tossing and turning, agonizing. I knew that a difficult decision was coming my way, and I had to find the courage to make it for our family. As Cassandra's belly grew, my doubts grew. She was still working overtime frequently, but she was becoming more and more casual about family matters. I tried to communicate with her, but I always got excuses such as, "I'm busy," or "I have an important project at work." I even found that her cell phone password had been changed, which deepened my anxiety. In order to find the truth, I decided to take action. I borrowed some miniature cameras from a friend who specializes in private investigations and secretly installed them in the living room, bedroom, and other areas of the house while Cassandra was out with the kids. I also installed a GPS tracker on Cassandra's car to keep track of her whereabouts. As guilty as I felt for doing this, I had no choice. I had to know the truth, even if it was brutal. One weekend after the plan was implemented, I told Cassandra that the company had arranged for me to go out of town on business for a period of time, about a week or so. When Cassandra heard the news, her expression seemed to have a trace of abnormality, but she quickly regained her composure and said that she would take good care of the children. I had a bad feeling in my heart, but I still pretended to be calm and packed my bags for the business trip. However, instead of actually going out of town, I quietly drove to a hotel not far from home, where I turned on the surveillance app on my cell phone and waited with bated breath. Sure enough, the very next night, Cassandra brought a young man back to our house. Through the camera, I recognized the man as Devin, a colleague she often talked about, and the scene that followed was like a sharp knife that stabbed me in the heart. They were kissing, caressing, and behaving so intimately that they didn't look like ordinary coworkers. To add to my despair, their conversation was clearly heard. "Baby, I can't wait to meet our baby," Devin said sweetly as he rubbed Cassandra's stomach. "In a few months, you'll be a father." Cassandra responded with a smile and a look of happiness in her eyes. Their words were like a thunderbolt that exploded in my head. It turned out that the baby in Cassandra's womb was not mine. All the clues clearly pointed to this heartbreaking fact. At that moment, I felt the sky spinning. All my organs are rolling. I crumpled on the hotel bed, let the tears flow freely. I forced myself to calm down and recorded all the images and conversations that I had captured as evidence that I might use in the future. This night was the most desperate and lonely moment in my life. It was as if I was standing at the end of the world, looking forward, only endless darkness. My wife, the woman I have loved for 10 years, betrayed our marriage, betrayed our family, and I became the last person in the family to know the truth. I tossed and turned all night. Images of Cassandra and Devin's intimacy kept popping into my head. I even began to wonder if all those years of her love for me had been an elaborate hoax. I felt sick, desperate, and angry. However, I knew I couldn't give up so easily. For the sake of the children, for the sake of the family, I had to take action. By the end of the vacation, I had made my decision. I was going to get justice for this betrayal, and I was going to make Cassandra pay. Even if the road ahead is bumpy, even if the journey is hard, I will be brave and go on until the truth is revealed, until justice is done. I took a deep breath, picked up the phone, and dialed my lawyer's number. My mind was already made up when I dialed Jack, a longtime friend and one of the city's premier divorce attorneys, who told me everything about my situation, including evidence of Cassandra's infidelity and her neglect of her family. I told him everything, including evidence of Cassandra's infidelity and her neglect of the family, and Jack was silent for a moment before saying, "Eldon, you have to think about yourself and your children. There's no way to fix a marriage like this." I knew Jack was right. The next day, I confronted Cassandra and told her that I knew everything and had decided to divorce her. Cassandra was shocked and then started screaming hysterically, accusing me of doing this to her. She even threatened to sue me for invasion of privacy and to take custody of the children. In the face of her threats, I just looked at her coldly and said calmly, "I have the evidence, and the judge will decide." At Jack's suggestion, I made the terms of the divorce very clear. I asked for full custody of the children and for Cassandra to pay $2,000 per month for child support until they reached adulthood. I also asked for a division of our community property, including real estate and savings, with my share being no less than 60%. Jack told me that these terms were not too harsh on Cassandra, considering her infidelity and my years of dedication to the family. Cassandra, however, would not accept these conditions. She claimed that she was a better candidate for support and demanded high alimony from me. She even made up lies about my domestic violence in an attempt to discredit me in court. When Jack told me this information, I nearly exploded with rage. How could I have been violent to Cassandra and the kids? This is nonsense. To counter Cassandra's accusations, I compiled video footage from the home security cameras, which clearly showed her intimate interactions with Devin. I also collected footage of her neglecting the children, such as when Cassandra didn't show up for Emma's birthday and didn't even call. And when Liam won a prize at the school field day, Cassandra was absent because she had a date with Devin. All of this was a powerful weapon in my courtroom. Finally, the day of the divorce proceedings arrived. In court, Jack methodically presented all the evidence I had gathered, exposing Cassandra's infidelity and indifference. Everyone in the room gasped when she admitted on video that the baby was Devin's. Cassandra's attorney tried to argue that I had unlawfully invaded her privacy, but the judge rejected that argument, saying that moderate surveillance is acceptable when a spouse is suspected of cheating. When Jack asks Cassandra why she always leaves the kids alone, she says it's because taking care of them interferes with her work and life. Her answer left everyone in the room outraged. The judge also expressed strong displeasure with her attitude. When Cassandra's attorney brought up the alleged domestic violence charges, Jack presented my clean record and called several neighbors to testify that I was a good husband and father and had never heard of any violence in my home. The trial lasted 2 full days, and I had never felt so tired, but I knew I had to keep going, for the sake of the children and for my own sake. Finally, the judge banged the gavel and made the final decision. I was awarded full custody of the children, and Cassandra was required to pay $1,500 per month in child support. Our joint assets were divided in the proportions I had requested. When Jack handed me the judgment, I breathed a sigh of relief. I had finally won this difficult battle, but there was no joy in my heart, only endless exhaustion and sadness. I know that this divorce has left a trauma in my heart and in the hearts of my children that is difficult to heal. But I also understand that this is a new beginning. From now on, I will take care of Emma and Liam with all my heart and make up for the loss of their mother's love with love. I will rebuild our home and fill it with laughter again. The pain of the divorce left a deep mark on my heart like a sharp knife. But I knew I had to pull myself together because my children, Emma and Liam, needed my love and companionship more than ever. I started to spend more time with my kids, taking them on picnics in the park or to museums every weekend to explore the world. Every weekend, I took them to the park for a picnic or to a museum to explore the unknown. Emma loved to draw, so I bought all sorts of paints and brushes and let her express her creativity at home. And Liam was so interested in music that I gave him a guitar and taught him to play it myself. I was so happy to see them immersed in their favorite things with innocent smiles on their faces. I know that even though they have lost their mother's love, as long as I am there, they will not feel lonely. Cassandra's life, however, was far from rosy. Her infidelity was an open secret in our social circle. Many of her former friends have chosen to disown her. Her reputation was at an all-time low. To make matters worse, the judge ordered her to pay $1,500 a month in child support, which is a heavy burden for her. I've heard that she's had to take 2 jobs to make ends meet and still can't make ends meet. But none of that was as bad as the pain she was feeling inside. I learned from a mutual friend that Devin broke up with Cassandra as soon as he found out she was pregnant, claiming he wasn't ready for the responsibilities of fatherhood. He claimed he wasn't ready for the responsibilities of fatherhood, and Cassandra was so devastated that she had to terminate the pregnancy. The surgery is said to have left her with physical and emotional scars that are hard to heal. I felt a twinge of regret when I heard the news of Cassandra's miscarriage. Although what she had done had hurt me deeply, I didn't want to see any lives lost like that. However, that didn't mean I forgave her for her betrayal. The woman who had haunted me had become a complete stranger. The trust between us was irretrievably broken. This painful lesson made me realize the importance of cherishing the people in front of me. I began to devote all my energy to my children. We revisited old dreams and created the future together. I took them hiking, camping, and experiencing the wonders of nature. I teach them how to play the guitar, paint, and help them discover their own interests and talents. Every time I spend time with them, I feel satisfied and happy. I also began to re-examine my life. I picked up my hobbies and started to learn painting and music. I joined a local artists association and made many like-minded friends. I rediscovered the meaning and joy of life through my interactions with them. I began to realize that the value of life should not be placed on others, but should come from my own inner satisfaction and growth. Gradually, I learned to let go of the past and said goodbye to that bad marriage. Life is like a journey. Just when you think that all roads have come to an end and all hopes have been dashed, fate suddenly unfolds a brand new picture in front of you. For me, that picture is Lyra. After my divorce from Cassandra and a series of emotional trials and tribulations, I felt hopeless for a while. I thought that my happiness had left me forever with that failed marriage. But life is full of surprises and opportunities. I met Lyra during a community volunteer activity. That day, I took Emma and Liam to the community center to participate in a warming activity for the elderly living alone. While I was busy distributing food and supplies, a gentle voice came from behind me. "Do you need help?" I turned around and saw a smiling lady. She introduced herself as Lyra, a new member of the community. We soon got to talking. When Lyra learned that I had been through an unfortunate marriage, she did not show sympathy or contempt, but looked at me with a kind of understanding and encouragement. She said, "Everyone's life will inevitably have ups and downs. The key is to learn to draw strength from setbacks and to believe that life is always full of hope." From that moment on, I developed a special liking for Lyra. I was pleasantly surprised to find that we shared many common interests and had surprisingly similar views on life. I began to invite her to our home more often and share our experiences together. In the communication with her, I felt that my heart was slowly being healed. With her wisdom and love, she helped me get out of the haze of divorce and find the direction of life again. To my relief, Lyra's relationship with Emma and Liam has developed into an unusually harmonious one. Since the divorce, the children have been traumatized in one way or another. Lyra, however, seems to have a magical power to heal the scars in their hearts. She accompanied them with all her heart, listened to their worries, and encouraged them to pursue their dreams. Gradually, under her influence, Emma and Liam became cheerful and confident again. I know that Lyra is responsible for all of these changes. She is not only my soulmate, but also an indispensable mentor and friend in my children's lives. I began to realize that perhaps God took away my first marriage so that I could meet true happiness. After some time together, Lyra and I decided to spend the rest of our lives together. In the presence of our children, we had a simple but heartwarming wedding ceremony. When I saw the heartfelt smiles on Emma and Liam's faces, my heart was filled with gratitude. I knew that the family was finally whole again. Looking back, I finally realized that every encounter in life has its own special meaning. If I had not had that painful marriage, if I had not had the ordeal of divorce, I would not have had the opportunity to reflect on myself. I would not have had the opportunity to grow and change, and I would not have met Lyra, the most wonderful surprise in my life. Therefore, I would like to say to all my friends who are experiencing suffering, don't lose hope. Life always arranges some difficulties and challenges for us inadvertently, but it is not to make us fall down, but to let us learn how to stand up and how to become stronger and wiser. Just like me, after falling down, I finally learned how to love, how to be grateful, how to pursue the true desire of my heart. And all of this, thanks to those trials and tribulations in my life. Thanks to them, let me become a new self. Friends, let us together, with faith and courage, embrace every turn in life. Let us believe that no suffering is eternal, no trauma is incurable. As long as we have hope, as long as we face everything with love, we will be able to create a better tomorrow. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.